So I've hit maximum oddity here with this delay, but it is not a delay, it is a chorus. Now I had this grain chorus that I was showing in another video for those few, one or two people that are following. But this is not a delay, this is at the max setting. So what we got here at its core is two grain delays and a traditional delay, but I'm using grain synthesis to do the traditional delay as well. But that is not the interesting part of this. I only have it set here because I was just playing around with this kind of, whatever you call these kind of riffs. But nonetheless, this is a chorus effect with the main one turned down. Now it has tons of strange oddities, just tonally, but that's not where the magic lies. I've been attempting to, throw weird mathematics and feedback loops, or try to apply strange, holographic madness or whatever. Any kind of obscure principle that I could somehow get ChatGPT to turn into code for this. But most of those ended up producing a lot of non-linearities and ended up crashing the system. It could be just the way I'm copying, pasting code in, and I'm not a seasoned programmer to get the most out of the Daisyseed. But where I'm at here is since I'm copying, pasting a bunch of code chunks from ChatGPT, I noticed this thing where people are, I don't know what the actual terminology is for it. They're basically schizo posting inside of ChatGPT. They're you'll see clips every once in a while where people are talking to ChatGPT and they think they found out the secret of the universe or something. And it's just this recursive feedback loop of people talking conspiracy nonsense to ChatGPT until it agrees with them. But I was interesting if I could get it to start talking to me like that. Well, I couldn't, even with as much tinfoil hat as I do have in my day-to-day life. I couldn't get ChatGPT to talk to me in strange, I've discovered the secrets of the universe, here's how you transcend the matrix or anything. But I went down a rabbit hole of these communities of people that talk about sacred frequencies and golden ratios and anything. But there are some principles there that kind of transfer over. So the main portion of this chorus, how the two grain signals are offset, is off the golden ratio, and I have a quantizer in there for angel numbers. So anytime there's something where the calculation is getting close to let's say 765, it would kick it up to 777. And so a lot of times frequencies and things that it's calculating, it just jumps them to triples, which is not necessarily audible. But I think, for the artistic merit of it, imparts kind of a je ne sais quoi. But going down this kind of biblical rabbit hole, I hope no one finds this blasphemous, but I've thrown in a bunch of kind of biblical principles into it. So in some of the jittering of settings, I have a random noise source that kind of flitters some of the parameters, but the seed for the random generator is actually the Lord's Prayer. You can't hear it in there. And then there's so many strange, I can't even think of all the weird. I have a thing that just randomly flips bits in the processing in between intervals of 7. Like it'll never be audible, but it imparts this kind of numerological mysticism into the effect. We can get the weirder choruses out of it. Oh yeah, and then for some of the low end texture, where it really like rattle my walls if I play hard, is you may have seen people where like some hippies standing in front of a bowl and they're like rubbing a stick around and it's making frequencies, and people think there's like some healing process to that. Well, anyways, all of those sacred frequencies, I have all of those that have a little peak, and they're all in like the lower frequency. They're like at 120 hertz or something like that. And anyways, there's 7 of them. And the Lord's Prayer is giving them a subtle It's too bad the phone doesn't really good represent it, because it'll fucking shake the walls here. Then to get a little more glassy, in between that, there is how it's offset. There is Metatron's cube that sets up all the different taps with the traditional delay. So once I introduce the traditional delay back in, I get another layer of chorusing in there. So it lives somewhere between a chorus and a delay. But a chorus is basically a delay in some respect. It just can be turned up further. Anyways, I have a ton of mystical nonsense that is plugged into this thing. If anyone's interested, I can go back through. There's 7 components of it. There's so much like numerology and mysticism in this. And of course, the Lord's Prayer. And then I did the double slash and added like about 111 lines of code in there that they obviously don't do anything. But it's a single a single significant passage from each of the books of the Bible. And so the code lines up to 777 lines. Now, is it in there? Is it audible in any way? No. Is most of the mystical nonsense that is in this audible in any way? No. But I think it adds a certain kind of flair that, you're just not going to get out of any chorus. Anyways, tell me what you think.